Where exactly Seth is right now.
Okay. Well, that being the case, I mean, those questions in the moment in the character for pressing on their mind with our footing as firmly beneath us as possible. I wanted to thank you all very, very much for indulging and engaging in this lovely hobby of ours. It does require an investment of time and effort, and I hope that you all receive as much from it in terms of enjoyment as I do. It is I am very, very appreciative. This hobby that we share, this time that we are able to donate and exchange between ourselves for it is very important to me, and it means just shy of the entire world. I really do appreciate you guys. And for the record, this is officially the start of In the Shadow of the White City, Season 3, Episode 6. Today, I am wise, so I'm changing myself. When we last left our troop, when we last left the coterie of Dalton, they had managed to pull off the unbelieved act of routing a sensate in their own home, pulling the wool over a prince of the city, managing to escape with their hides intact, and most importantly, and most valuably, unburdening themselves to each other and sharing a modicum of absolute truth, where they stood politically, philosophically, things that mattered to them, and took the first of several million steps towards being more than just a grouping of loosely aligned and associative strangers. They took steps toward becoming and being, in all actuality, a coterie. Not just the tossed off association like a friend of a friend or a childhood chum that you meet on a playground, barely know their name, but no, in fact, a coterie of like-minded individuals heading towards their goals separately together. So we pick up and we open on the night after their return to Dalton, after the night after their return to home, from the lack of a better word. All of their accoutrements from the various other cities that they were able to leave in safekeeping return to their places, and they, Dia, Frost, Robert, and Zach, gathering in the main room of the Pisketeers Lounge. Pisketeers Lounge has been open 365 and a quarter days for the last 40 years. This is the first night in 40 years where the Pisketeers Lounge not open to the public. So how is everyone dressed?
Frost would have his normal getup on, like the body armor he came in. Maybe the dress jacket over it. Seeing little form.
Rob's just wearing simple leather jacket, jeans.
Zach has a red long sleeve button shirt, black slacks, and black tie with kind of a floral pattern to it. But it's thrown around his shoulders and rather loosely. You can tell that fancy dress isn't really his style, but he's trying.
I would also, I guess I could do something with the Piscators being closed. There are inside the Piscators, like on certain posts and places in the bar, black ribbons tied. Dia steps out of the back office wearing a Snow White tuxedo from head to toe, like tailored, well-fitted black tie with gold accents, matching pocket square. Their hair has been braided in the front, kind of like a crown, with gold woven through, and then it falls into two long braids down their back, very much native style, also wrapped in gold wires at the edge. On their shoulder and draped down their back is a legitimate cape made of raven feathers, totally, that have been stitched together carefully. Very little makeup, but very strong, striking, dark eyeliner, and a little gold shimmer to their lips, but that's it. Nails done perfectly, very put together, as they step out of the back office.
There's clearly something extraordinarily breath-catching and mind-numbing about watching Dia arrive from just a few steps outside of the normal. You all, Frost having spent the day in the upstairs hidden bedroom, Rob having been allowed to stay in one of the catacomb-like bedrooms below ground, and Zach having arrived promptly after sunset and retrieving their vehicle. This image that Dia has constructed very carefully clearly speaks to the level of engagement and interaction that lies ahead of truth.
They square their shoulders and kind of walk towards the others and nod at each in turn. Mildly disappointed, to say the least, with a couple of outfit choices lingering on the two most egregious of the group. But there's no time to nitpick, and they clear their throat, and I just wanted to thank you all for being here. It's important to me, thank you. And I don't have much of anything left except for this place, but it is nice that you all will stand by my side as for whatever new things might come this evening. And then they head for the door.
Turns to Dia's direction and is wondering what exactly is going on. Like, he has an idea that the events of the previous night might still be weighing on her, but he's not entirely just trying to figure out why Dia would be heading for the door. Like, is anybody else coming in? Is she going to get more people? Does she need to retrieve something? He has those kind of thoughts running through his head right now. But for now, his hands are in his pockets and he's staying quiet.
Okay. When you get to the door and you turn, you realize that Frost, Robert, and Zach have grown roots. They don't seem to have the ability to move forward, otherwise engage. What is there before you?
Did you forget that we are to meet the Dome of Dalton at a different club so that they might decide whether or not I am to fill in Nicole's place as Primogen of the Toreador in Dalton? That is what happened last night. Nicole is dead and I am taking her place.
And Zach mentally, rather than physically, face palms and starts following her. Like, don't! But again, it's more mental. So caught up in his own business, but also trying to be helpful. And now he's following Dia.
Okay.
I'm slightly confused. What's happening right now?
Okay.
I can give them a quick... Okay, so what happened is when we arrived at the Pisketeers Lounge last night, they were cleaning up bodies and there was blood all over the floor and there was ash all over the floor. Dia came in, looked around, noticed that the person that they were looking for was not there, and realized why the person they were looking for was not there, because there were ash on the ground.
Oh yeah. And then we figured out there's lupine.
Yeah.
Here.
And all that happened. And then Geneva, which is the Dom of Dalton, showed up, patted her on the shoulder, and told her that she would have to take over and to meet them the next night so that she could take her place.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Frost, did we lose you?
No, sorry. I blanked out for a second. Sorry. What happened?
All right, so let's set the scene. After a few moments of mental cycling up, the hamster beginning to fall asleep at the wheel, Diaz is able to, through the use of a very secretive and unknown discipline to most others outside of the clan as a whole, to focus the members of the troop. They are, by dint of having assisted completing the mission before them, part and parcel of Dia's retinue. What happens to them is dependent upon what happens to Dia. The reward for successfully completing the mission before the previous coterie has its benefits that lay ahead for Dia and her retinue. also in the process of completing that diplomatic mission to Milwaukee successfully, in the offing, in the interim, Dia's sire, the senator of Dalton, the primogen of the Clan of the Rose, has been murdered, has had their existence ended. Unlike the stereotypical average kindred, Dia and their sire were in partnership. They had a clear understanding of one another, and there was actual care. It's not, in Dia's case, the effort of losing some dominating overlord, but instead losing an older sister, a tutor, a mentor, a guide through the steps of being unliving. So that emotional weight weighs on Dia. And for those that actually care about their coterie, made it, by extension, weighs on each of them. As well as the very real fact in Robert's case, he is literally 15 miles from Chicago. He is 15 miles from the glittering, gleaming gem and capital city of the Camarilla in the contiguous United States. It's also the seat of power for the Wolfpack, his former coterie, his former group of associates for which he had been banished. For Frost, he is representing Seth in this, as Seth attends other business. A failure on his part very much could have the benefits of being a ghoul sapped and drained from him. Seth could choose to end their relationship, their partnership, based on any failings on his part. As for Zach, having given their word, having had the use of Dia's connections and ties to the more high table side of the Toreador, they are here honoring their word and in support of their coterie mate. So after everyone is prepared and Dia dressed as regally as they are, they alight without to find that the Dom of Dalton has provided a vehicle, a stretch navigator limousine, for them to arrive at the gathering of the Senate and the reward for mission done, as well as what steps will happen next. So, questions, suggestions, statements, thoughts in character. Any?
Frost would lock and load, do this, and get to the as he noticed that it's nightfall, start start patrolling where the coterie is sleeping until they wake up.
In Zach's
Robert wants to move on to the next place.
Zach's leaning more towards the emotional support end of his role and all that than any of the other, because really that's what's a priority for him right now.
A bit of that was lost in translation, Zach. We got a little static. What was that?
That Zach's role and his presence there is leaning more towards the emotional support angle, because that's really what's important to him right now.
Excellent.
Dia gets into the stretch navigator, like they do this all the time. Obviously, it's not a big, it's nice, but it's a stretch navigator, whatever. They get in, they're looking at the others like, are you getting in or what? and then they check the mini bar inside the stretch nav, because almost assuredly there's going to be some sort of refreshment.
Not just any refreshment. As Dia and the others get into the vehicle provided by the Dom, there are 6 vivacious, charming, and attractive individuals taking up one portion of the bench seating available. They'd clearly been talking amongst themselves, a little giggling, a little bubbly, and it's clear that they are refreshments.
Zach's liking this. As they see a Cheshire smile grace his face. Or Cheshire cat smile, I mean.
Sorry, dog.
No.
Anyways. Go on.
So, we know that Dia and Zach will partake and do the logistically smart thing and replenish their reserves from the previous night. Watching this happen, where does that emotional mentally leave Frost? Watching the pleasure wash over their victim's face, watching them indulge and engage in the lessening of another being's life.
Well, I mean, it's nothing Frost hasn't seen before. He's been to these type of parties before, protecting, I don't know, Seth or accompanying Seth.
Yes, but Seth themselves don't partake. The kindred that he is in the company with at such previous instances has never partaken, has never taken another in front of him. Even going so far as to when he provides for Frost, he does so via syringe. This is another matter entirely. Dia and Zach are far more personable in their approach, far more intimate in how they obtain. They are far more intimate, of the sort that has Frost believing that he has walked into the wrong movie. There are touches and exchanges of looks. There's a actual felt closeness between them and their prey.
Frost would probably turn a little red and like just try and like watch out for like look towards the background, trying not to look at the people sucking blood from the nape or whatever.
Well, Zach's sucking more than blood. He's sucking face too.
Well, yeah. Exactly.
All right.
Robert looks over to Frost. Disgusting, I know.
Oh, come now. That's a little harsh, don't you think? He says as he
Frost
dislodges himself from his prey's face.
Blood tastes like shit unless you work for it.
Great.
Frost, would you be so kind as to roll your composure and either subterfuge or persuasion? Either you're convincing them that you are not bothered, or you're presenting the image that you are not in any way actually paying attention.
I have 0 persuasion and 0 subterfuge. Alrighty.
Subterfuge is so broken. Why not? Out here.
Nah, but he can shoot, so he's got a lot of composure. 3 successes.
Somehow, in the midst of the internal storm, the unwavering sense of unease, Frost is able to keep his face and mannerisms composed as blank as possible. It is not a show of revulsion. There's no sneering of lips. There's no constant flicking of gaze away or past, or he's calmly reposed, which is in and of itself a rarity. Under pressure in battle, to be expected. Emotionally, that is anyone's guess. And all too soon, the trip is over. Dalton is smart enough to never call itself more than a village. Dalton, unlike other small cities and towns throughout much of the United States, does not have an overinflated sense of self. What Dalton has is an indefatigable sense of their own ability to pull themselves up by their bootstraps. They have more business owners, proprietorships, and residual income sources per capita than anywhere else in Illinois, Midwest, and most of the United States. They are not a city that has ever been on the rise, but they're smart enough to own every step, every inch of what they can, and generate as much income for their future descendants as they can. That has never been truer than watching the outside world slide by as they make their way. And unlike the expected for them to visit the Adonis, the center of the dome of Dalton's power, a grandfathered Elysium from their time as something less, they find themselves approaching 158th Street, just off of Cottage. Before them, on their right, as they ease into the lot, vehicle turning, they find a honest-to-goodness castle. It's on the smaller side, but without a shadow of a doubt, the first thing that hits Robert's mind, the first thing that hits Frost's mind is a reinforced battlement designed to withstand a siege. And while it is, in fact, only 2 stories, there is something imposing about a funeral home that looks as if it is, in fact, a castle. Frost, would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your wits plus... Oh, 1 second, where's that note at? We had actually prepared for this one. Would you be so kind as to go ahead and roll your wits in either larceny or investigation?
Alrighty. That's 5. Unless the cop can steal better. Which I don't think he can. Where is larceny?
Larceny is under firearms on the far left side of the sheet.
Which he has none, so 5. Again, 3 successes.
Not only is this place a fortress, it is designed so that one does not notice all of the surveillance. Frost takes 40 seconds, which is 40 seconds longer than he does, to diagnose the visible security of a place and the visible surveillance of the place. The surveillance has been harmoniously designed to blend into the background, to exist as part of the structure and its landscape, and to not draw attention. You broke up there. Okay. We can hear you fine.
Yep.
The security of the place and the surveillance of the place has been designed to blend in and to disappear. Someone with some intelligence in regards to such procedures and technologies applied themselves. Even spotting the many that he does, he assured that there's at least another 60% that he did not notice and would not be able to notice without an in-depth investigation of the grounds. Perhaps seeing their security office and tracking where the cameras can see and backtracking them to their actual physical location. It is unnerving realizing that this much security, that this much surveillance, that this well-designed net has been thrown over a funeral home. A funeral home whose parking lot is filled. There's Maseratis, there's a honest to goodness Porsche, there's a Maybach on the far side, there's the stretch that you are in, pulling in. The vehicles here range and roam nearly every price tag, all the best of their line, or at least something that has been well kept and upkept. And then Robert, the guys themselves smile on you and damn you in the same breath. There are roughly 20 bikes. There are Indians, Harleys, there's Panthers, there's a whole slew of bikes that have, including but not limited to, a few rat bikes that have been put together with skill, dedication, and a little love against the far side of the lot. It is literally the most unnerving sense of what may be taking place inside. Dia, as a resident and local of Dalton, you realize which domain you are actually in. You realize that this is the grounds and realm of the Boulevard of Thornton Township, better known as the Boulevard of the South Suburbs. This is Decibel Albu's personal domain within Dalton. For those of you who had the opportunity or remember to check the map for the area, and there the southwestern portion of Dalton, see the outlined area for Decibel's protectorate, his specifically singular authority. As the vehicle eases to a stop, it takes a second, but because Kindred don't really need to move, act human, it takes a while to realize that there, just in the shadows outside the parking lot door, are a few gathered Kindred, clearly having been speaking to one another. They pause and wait for whomever is inside to exit the vehicle.
There's a moment of, oh crap, when Dia remembers this is Decibel's domain. There's no really any love lost. To get along fine. It's just he's so stodgy and old school, it's irritating somewhat. So they have a moment of fortification, and then they slide out of the door on the side that's everybody's standing at and fluff out their cape.
Robert just looks in awe at the massive haven. So what kind of stuffy freak owns this one? One of the Blue Bloods? I don't know Dalton too well. Castles are a little too on the nose for them.
Leaning back in carefully so that they are not overheard, but that Robert hears them very clearly. You would do well to not repeat that in company. Decibel is a dragon. A very proud dragon, and very warlike. Hence the castle. And then they stand themselves straight up and look towards Zach.
Frost kind of chuckles. Did you just say dragon?
Yes, Order of the Dragon. Dracula.
They're the Farsu to turn you into a lawn chair if they would feel like it.
Okay.
The creepiest thing about them is that they're probably the most polite guy you've ever met in your life, yet they're the biggest monster at the same time. And they treat, my experience, they treat humans and ghouls like you, like actual cattle. I stepped lately. I will be too.
Do I need to be on extra guard then?
I wouldn't be on edge, just act like a very polite house guest. And don't look at any freakish decorum he might have hanging around.
All freakish? Frost kind of looks around, but then he kind of just like tries to look forward.
Imagine the age of the freak, the dragon, had to be told. Not totally sure. Well, I heard rumors.
So everyone exits the vehicle. Everyone begins their trek in Dia's wake. Now, one of the many things that Frost has noticed that most every kindred is thankful for in one shape, fashion, or form, there isn't really a sense because of their dead flesh. There isn't really a presence. The living germs and microbes and various permutations of biologic life that causes things to, stick around. There's bacteria, there's dirt, there's the fact that humans are only semi-solid bags of liquid that leave bits and bobs of themselves behind with everything they interact with. They also pick up a bit of everything they interact with, causing places such as homes and the like to have their own feel, their own miasma, their own scent. With so many kindred in one place, the only thing that reaches the ear are the scents that they chew. So it smells, despite the cold, as if you walked into a very upper echelon cosmetics counter. You pick up fine parfums and colognes and eau de toilettes, but you don't pick up the usual. There's no pheromones, there's no sweat, there's no... And then all at once, as you're absently trying to figure out why there isn't, or thankful there isn't, the usual collection of scents when this many people are in one place at the same time, there is a iron, a copper beneath the fine fragrances permeating. There's it feels as if you bit the inside of your cheek, or you had someone punch you in the nose. That's what it smells like beneath all of the fine fragrances. As you all make your way in, standing at the door, let's get a picture of good old Cyprian. Show. Second. Gonna go ahead and post a quick picture of Cyprian once we get pegged out here.
What was it?
Going to get a quick picture so you all have an idea as to what Cyprian looks like. He is there we go. All right, there we go.
Pictures.
In the open play, there should be a picture of Cyprian popping out fairly. Second. As you all enter, dressed in shades of the livery, which is a caramel, a chocolate, and a honeyed brown, and a three-piece tailed tuxedo with reinforced elbows of a darker brown and shoes of leather so supple it looks as if they could actually break out in a sweat if they are overexerted. Cyprian makes his way over, his hair pulled back so that it appears as if it is far shorter than it is, but as you notice upon his approach, the hair at the rear of his head has been braided into a warrior's knot that trails down to the middle of his back. Good evening, everyone. I am glad that you are able to make it. I am Mr. Yevenu. I am Master Albu's adjutant. Senator White, I believe we have a suite available for you and your retinue until the proceedings begin. Are there any refreshments or otherwise that I might help you obtain?
Gia gives them a very winning smile, lift of lip, and no, thank you. We were quite taken care of in the car.
I understand, and this speaks for the entirety of your retinue. And he focuses his gaze on Frost, frowning for a second, then back to you.
I very carefully glance at Frost, like, if you want something, speak up now, but please don't embarrass me.
Frost stays silent.
Perhaps just some coffee of some sort, if we have it. Thank you.
Very well, of course. Right this way, please. It takes him a few moments, and you all make your way across the floor. You see Geneva, you see Mr. Mitchell, you see the various other advisors and senators, as well as their cabinet, their associates, their right hands. And as they congregate, there is a immediate, even the deaf, dumb, and blind grasp of coldness. There is clearly something amiss. There's clearly some wrinkle to what should be happening. And as you guys are led across the floor and into a private suite, Cyprian pauses by the door. I do thank you for your patience. It's not every day that one ascends to the rank of senator. I wish you luck. And he closes the door behind him. Once more, and for the second time this evening, you all are alone with your thoughts and with each other. It is impossible to not notice the chill in the air for what should be, if a somber, at least happy moment. Not every day someone is given a kingdom.
Gia is suddenly looking a little nervous. They've noticed the strangeness of the whispers and the groupings and the slightly off feeling of the whole get-together, and it's got them a little spooked. So rather than sit, they are actually pacing a little and repeatedly smoothing their suit.
Zach, there's nothing more political than when more than one member of your clan is together. When there's a meeting of the minds and the power deign to associate with those who don't have it, there's always a significant level of jockeying for position and standing. Even in quiet salons, there are things one can do to better their standing and things one can do to lower their standing. Dress, gossip, rumors, activities and actions that are traceable either through photograph or text or various other steps and things that have been taken. That is what Zach feels. This is a salon of salons, and there's some internecine strife taking place. Sides are being chosen. Robert, when there is an all thing for members of the blood, when a thing is called and everyone gathers and the stories of activities past, stories of heroics, stories of humor, stories of prestige are bandied back and forth as everyone jockeys for a position in the all thing. Because after all, if one is not the top dog, the view doesn't change. And while the wolves, while Clan Gangrel are not dogs, they're not wolves, there is a savage understanding as to what politics should be. It should be about those of strength leading so that everyone can eventually get there. This is not that, but it is no less violence. The violences are, of course, verbal and emotional, but the scars will last far longer than anything at an all. And Frost, there was a movie, it's almost a classic at this point, it's at least 10, 15, 20, 30, maybe 90 years old at this point, with a sober, or at least a sober seeming Lindsay Lohan and Christina George and somebody's mom. And yeah, this is definitely what this is. You're back in high school all over again. Not just any high school. You are in the worst sort of high school. A high school that has had a TV series, a movie, maybe a remake done about it. This is no John Hughes film with a jock, a nerd, a rebel. No, this is children at war. This is mean girls jockeying for position. These are jocks who have every intention of hurting each other and the world around them.
Well, there's always going to be bullshit.
All right. all too soon, before the thoughts settle, before the paranoia ratchets up to a higher extent, the door opens up. And instead of Cyprian being the man that arrives, this gentleman enters, a smile on his face, his hands clasped behind his back. Oh, I believed I had the opportunity to have this room to myself. I'm so glad that I would not be alone. Hello, everyone.
Dia switches back into that social butterfly armor that they normally carry and smiles. Oh, please, come on in. Oh, just waiting for whatever it is that's going on out there.
Yes, of course. I completely understand. This seems to be quite chaotic. I cannot believe normally when these things. The person most worthy is the person who was chosen.
Unfortunately, it's a bit sudden, all of this, so it's a bit nerve-wracking. I would not be remiss in stating. So, yes, there's that. I am Dia, Concordia Light, and you?
Yes, Concordia, you're the person of the hour. Everyone is considering you. And he looks at the others gathered. You have a strange sort of association. Your people here, they are clearly not entertained enough. Perhaps I can maybe sing you a song of my people? Would this help everyone?
At this moment, X thinking about a book he read when he was in a book he read, that book being The Outsiders, and he sees this as a matter of one group of Socias versus another. That's what's going through his head right now.
So,
Look up as the author of a song.
yes, perhaps a song. I understand that the music can soothe the savage beast. It also can ease the soul as far as things are concerned.
I am a lover of music and would be honored if you would share a song with us. Yes, please.
I kind of gives that gives an agreeing nod. And kind of brings up that he regrets not bringing his guitar, but he thinks that would have been poor form.
Excellent. Very well, very well.
Does this more as a joke.
Good. All together now. We shall begin at the beginning. Analog Jana. Together. And he begins singing.
Is it a song I've ever heard before or something I would recognize and pick up?
Hang on a second.
Zach might jump in if he knows it, but if not, if it's in a language he doesn't know, probably just kind of hum along.
Now, it wouldn't be an unnerving song. It would not be.
Recognize that at all.
It would not be an unnerving song, except for as he raises his voice. For Dia and Zach, they immediately realize that he is hitting all of those octaves singularly. There are not 6 of him singing side by side. There is only him. And all of those octaves and all of those voices are being raised as he opens his voice fully.
This is a little creepy, but okay.
Ending the song as he begins to clap and 2-step his way around the room. A smile broadening across his face. He finally comes to a stop before Dia. Strangely enough, he is actually breathing, so his chest rises and falls. His skin is ruddy with blood, and there is a bit of vitae-laced perspiration.
Dia has watched all of this, the movement, the dancing, and they are mildly, not confused, more like taken with this, like entranced by this whole performance, and they clap politely, and that was wonderful. I've never heard such sounds. You're very talented.
It is a song from my country. It is a tradition. If you were to give it anything, though it is not often that we have the opportunity or reason to raise our voices for being able to. It's a gift. It is a blessing of sorts. I hope that it works for you and you receive all of the blessings and benefits and boons you may so need. I do have a question, if I might. Having offered my services, having extended myself towards you, if someone transgressed against you, if someone took something from you, would you wait for the Senate, or would you act as is your right as the aggrieved party?
Dia realizes the gravity of what was just asked. And I'm going to go with, I think I've got points in etiquette. I'm going to go with instinct and what I would think Nicole had taught. So what do I need to roll?
His vantage point is clear. The song itself, knowing where it's from, being it is Romanian, i.e. Transylvanian, a 3. So intelligence and either etiquette or academics of 3.
I had 3 in both of those, so 6 total between intelligence and etiquette.
Based on what it is that Dia understands and intuits, with Nicole having spent many years discussing on several notables and how best to approach them, there is always an eye for an eye. Every vengeance must be paid in kind. Every slight must be paid in kind. To accept the pain of others is to lessen oneself.
Looking him in the eye and very much tightening their jaw, they nod, understanding. I would think it'd be most prudent to not wait and get what belongs to me.
This is very good to me. Turning to Frost and Zach, taking a step back so as not to obfuscate or obstruct Dia's view of them. Do you agree that this is just?
Okay.
Whatever Dia thinks.
And what would Zach have to roll here, if anything?
In regards to what?
Because there's him being part of the coterie, and there's also what his own experiences have taught him, and what his own kindred associates outside of the coterie have taught him.
Okay. Similar roll. We'll do this. We'll say intelligence and etiquette, and intelligence and or intelligence academics. The target number is still 3, but it is with the mindset and understanding of their anarchist leaning, of their anarch soul, of their real drive to be rebels like all of their other friends.
Okay, and difficulty 3 as well?
Correct.
Okay, difficulty before hunger, right?
Yes. No, it's your die pool, your hunger, and then difficulty.
Alright. This doesn't look good.
The truth of the matter, if from everything that Zach has absorbed, from every understanding as to their standing, specifically Drew's on things such as this, while in the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king, if each person paid an eye for an eye, the whole world would in fact be blind. Visiting vengeance for vengeance sake, returning a slight without the will of the people behind it, without hearing what all parties have to say on the matter, is exerting one's own sense of self above the group.
And Zach attempts the most tactful way he can of wording this opinion, as polite and tactful as he can. voicing basically what you just said. The consequences of everybody paying vengeance onto vengeance.
I mean, you can't just say an eye for an eye. It's fine.
So you disagree?
Zach is disagreeing, but again, he's doing so as politely as possible. But is fully aware that this may ruffle some feathers.
And you are dressed as a man of war, as a man suffered and is willing to suffer for others. Do you agree that one should enact their own vengeance as it is they who have been wronged?
Well, I mean, what Zach says makes sense. Rage. Therefore, as kindly how would I?
Frost, I'm afraid I'm only catching part of what you're saying.
Oh, sorry.
A little bit.
Basically, I said, when a man sees red and he acts on it, then bad things happen. So I would have to agree kindly, in the kindest way possible, with Zach.
I see. This is good to know.
And always dress for worst case scenario.
This is interesting. I understand the idea of being prepared at all times for whatever may befall, but this... And he takes a step closer, leaning down close enough that he could see the stitching. Yes, but this invites interest. This invites... It lets everyone know where you are protected. So just simply avoid these areas. Yes? Oh, forgive me. Turning back to Dia. Turning back to Dia. I appreciate your willingness to tolerate individuals who care nothing for your reputation and disagree with you wholeheartedly in front of guests. This is an interesting idea. I wish you luck with this. And he exits the room. I bid you all adieu. Enjoy the remainder of your...
And as soon as he steps out of the room, Zach gulps audibly, getting a dawning understanding of what that question really meant. And he's now covering his face and apologizing profusely to Dia.
Frost is looking for a way out.
Dia is surprisingly taking it all in stride. While that could have gone better, obviously, nobody wants to be surrounded by yes men, and convictions are only as strong as those around you and support or denial of. So if you can stand on your convictions against all odds, then that makes you all the stronger. So they are taking it as, yes, that could have gone better. And yes, they were thrown under the bus. But at the same time, again, nobody likes yes men.
Well, sorry. I guess it should have been more. I'm just a soldier. My opinion don't matter.
There's a knock at the door, and the gentleman there in open play is the one who steps through. He looks from one to the next, and dressed as he is in a two-piece suit of grays with a top shirt and a tie that is similarly designed. There's a soft tweed to it, but it is a darker gray. The one thing that stands out above all else is that he is clearly and unabashedly packing. There's clearly a large caliber sidearm underneath his right blazer hip pocket. There's clearly something around his ankle, and there are just peeking out from beneath the sleeves of his jacket on both wrists holsters of some sort, probably throwing knives, maybe full-fledged daggers. You're not quite sure what, but they are there. I hear this is where the party's at. Is that true? Everybody out there is a little stiff. I heard that there might be a hidden decanter or something inside.
It depends on your definition of party.
Looking Robert up and down, my definition of a party would probably be to beat the fleas out of one dog or another. Oh, I'm sorry, not dogs. Wolves. Wolves, right? Yeah, that's what you guys like to be called.
And it's at this point where Zach reaches for something in his pocket and is basically preparing himself for what he deems worst case scenario.
Dia smirks. Well, it is a funeral home, so stiffs would make sense, would they not?
I suppose. I hear the guy that runs the place is into the sort of thing. Laying people out and having people watch over other people. I hear that he sits in the various funeral services and soaks in the grief of the family members and loved ones. If it's a fine wine. That sort of grief has never really been, but a good scrap every once in a while is always a good thing, right?
Everybody needs a hobby.
Yes, they do. I understand your hobby's singing, making a scene of things.
I am the scene. There is no need to make a scene when I am around, but I see where you're getting at.
It's good to see that you've got a good tongue on your head.
No. You've only seen part of what my tongue can do.
You'd be surprised. All the cameras that you guys have around that lounge don't always go just to your private servers.
Oh, so you're a fan, are you?
Only. No one got that. That was a wasted time. I knew that reading from the script wouldn't have worked. Look, if you haven't noticed, everybody out there is stressed and tense. There's a lot of shit going on. Some people have gone missing, believed dead. So I need to know where you were last night and tonight, just before arriving here, before the car arrived for you.
I was with them. And he points to the door. He's like,
Well, that's good to know. And where were they?
with me.
Zach. This time
Lost.
Zach physically face palms.
Lost. Please, shush. God.
It's a little. Aren't you a little slow to be carrying that much hardware?
We were at the Pescateers. I arrived last night to find my sire had been murdered, and spent the rest of the night speaking with the staff and controlling the news that got out so that nobody would panic. And tonight I spent my time dressing, as you can see, and they motioned to their outfit, and preparing myself for this little get together before the car came to pick us up.
What about you, big man? You don't look like the sort that would spend the night in. Rob, you're back.
Zach states that he was in Riverdale taking care of business before he arrived with the rest of them.
There's nobody in Riverdale worth their salt except for maybe Seferino, who used to have my job here. So who are you with in Riverdale? Which rebel, unaligned pieces of detritus did you associate with?
Zach states that he was with his sire and another associate of his, but he doesn't state their names.
Your sire and partner. It's a likely story. Of course, it's easy to say so without anybody to back that up or verify that. Just for the record, so you guys are aware as to what shitstorm you're walking out there into, means you want to be slow, duplicitous, and more than borderline dishonest. A lie of omission is still a lie. There was a member of the Senate, an associate member Senate, that has gone missing, the subject of a clear, purposeful, violent action. You know, the sort that takes a little planning, unverifiable alibis, and nets potential promotion. They were the person who has served the Senate most directly, longest. They were the person who was backed by a sitting member of the Senate for the open senator's position. They were a trusted member of the Blue Bloods and not some party girl and her friends. So, in light of a clear, violent disappearance of an associate member of the Senate, I'm going to ask you all one more time before I head out this door and say, yep, I think they did it.
Why would you lie?
Because if you can't give me an honest, direct answer, I think you did it. course, I think everyone does what they're potentially accused of.
Look, you said you have cameras in the Pesketeers Lounge. Then
Yes.
you can check those cameras and see that I did not leave the Pesketeers after arriving there last night.
The cameras are downstairs in your little fun house to keep you all from having the single source of potential blackmail against those who use your services. There was no one who entered the downstairs area. It's part of the agreement Nicole made with the Dom, just in case things got out of hand. You know how simple-minded people can be when pleasure's on the table?
I was grieving. Where would I have gone?
You could have gone anywhere. Doesn't mean you did. It also doesn't mean you didn't. People grieve in their own ways.
Was only missing as of what? This evening?
Between yesterday and today, yes. And he looks at Frost as if something settles into place. Someone or something that can operate during the daytime hours, finding a kindred by themselves, be the perfect time to off someone. So, you know what? You probably did. And looking at Frost and how well armed he is, his armor. Let me ask you one more time. Did you kill anybody for her?
Not yet.
Do you consider us as living?
Aren't you unliving? Not alive, not dead.
That wasn't the question. I'll ask again, a little slower. I know you have a problem with speed. Do you consider us living?
That's a hard question to answer. I guess, yeah. I don't think of you guys as dead since you're talking, walking. Some of you even breathe like me.
Looking towards Robert and Zach. I hear a bunch of noise, but I don't hear anybody actually saying anything. Knowing what's at stake, is there anything any of you have in positive response to defending your potential master?
I don't waste my time with stupid questioning. That's all I'll say.
Okay. So that's how we're going to play it. You all enjoy what's left of your night. It's about to get considerably hotter.
See you later, Columbo.
Oh, you will. Once she is denied the opportunity to sit on the Senate, you all follow to me.
It's at this moment when Zach starts shaking, trying to compose himself as much as he can, keeping a mostly neutral expression, but from the shaking, the members of the coterie can tell he is not happy. He's ticked. And he's trying to physically restrain himself from doing something stupid.
Frost is just amused at this guy.
Are they still here or did they leave?
No, they left.
Okay, so as soon as they leave, Tia reminds me, first order of business, take that one down a few pegs.
Like kneecap him? Thought you Vance healed easily.
Look, I don't know what he's on about. We didn't do anything. I was at the Pescateurs all evening, and so were you, and so were you. Zach was not, but I doubt the time it would take for them to go get their car and come back would give them time enough to do whatever this stupidity thing they're assuming that we did was.
Seems to me like he's looking for a scapegoat rather than the truth.
Very much so. And I refuse to be a goat.
Zach, with that suggestion actually stated out loud, would you so kind of just go ahead and roll your wits plus etiquette, or wits plus subterfuge, whichever is higher?
Well, etiquette and subterfuge are equal. Oh no.
Oh, okay, never mind. And there was a percolating thought, and it dissipated the moment that your brain started to try to pin it down. It was not, in fact, a butterfly you were chasing. It was, in fact, love.
Okay, but with them having said it, would I have picked up on what they were hinting at?
Now, look, what you want to take a small hit to willpower. Would you like to take that hit?
Me or Zach?
You, Dia.
Sure. Very small.
As Zach says that statement out loud, like a sneak attack from the shortest, angriest, goblinest, knife-wielding child, Dia is disemboweled with their knowledge of what just happened. It wasn't an actual accusation. The first gentleman that Dia knows they're standing on the Dalton Senate, their interrogation, their investigation was about, would you be willing to honor anything, especially violence, above the will of the people? Execute your own actions. Take care of your own. Settle any transgressions directly. And Dia, knowing exactly who that second person who entered in their position on the Senate, their question is about, would you work within the system? And while everything they said was probably true, there really is a person missing. It is part and parcel of an interview process for the position that Dia will be holding.
So what they would get is that
Fuck the system. And my allies potentially aren't my allies. They could be utilized against me.
Okay. Yeah, that sucks. If you excuse me, I think I need to speak with Jennifer. Missing them more than I thought I would in this situation. And then they slip out to go find Jennifer.
As Dia leaves Frost, Rob, Zach, the look on their face is enough to remind you of watching a puppy being kicked, kitten dropped off of a building, or some cruelty visited upon someone or something innocent. In other words, someone caught completely unawares as to the selfish darkness in the world. Someone who realizes that the world is not only not a pretty place, that it is a purposefully ugly place designed to strip all bits, joy, happiness from one, to make everyone as cold and monstrous as possible, to beat one down until there's nothing left to stand.
Which just makes Zach that much angrier. And again, he's still trying to compose himself. But he is seething through his teeth right now, and it's audible that he's seething. He's just getting more and more mad with each passing second.
So Dia's walking off, right?
Yeah, Dia exited the room.
Now, Dia is the main one I'm supposed to quote unquote protect, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'll follow. I'll give a look to the other quartering members as signaling follow.
For my
Rob, Zach, seeing Frost. Go on.
For my own sake, as well as everyone else's, it may be best if I stay here. And he says this in the angriest voice any of them have heard from him thus far.
Rob wants to be where the action is. I'll follow Frost. And
I'll give a thumbs up to Zach.
Zach is basically conveying that if he joins them, he's gonna do something stupid. So it's probably best if he stays put.
Dia, you... Oh, go on. I see.
I'm pretty sure I don't have 7 humanity in real life.
Me neither. Mine's probably more like 6.
Dia, upon leaving, taking a quick step outside of the clear interview room, taking a second to compose thoughts and align aims, Dia realizes that the room being an interview room, only those who speak for or have any questions, any interview questions as to their standing would be approaching the room. In this moment, you see several pockets of conversation taking place that all stop and stare at you, blank-faced and empty-eyed, as you exit.
They very pointedly pulled themselves together, stand tall, chin lifted, looking for Geneva, and once spotting them, make their way over like they are unbothered by everything that's going on.
Okay, excellent. Would you be so kind to go ahead and roll charisma and performance? Your target number is 4. There are people who are not cut out for stress. There are people who are not cut out for situations where weaknesses or cracks in their armor are exposed or at least bandied around. With their training, their tutelage at Nicole's side, with their survival in the very pressure-filled hothouse that is the Clan of the Rose, which is the Sensates, which is the for those who actually take part in the clan, for those who actually work with the system to find their own freedom instead of standing against it or standing as an outsider, those who dived into the clan and utilized their skills and learned or absorbed the information that was freely there to be gained, being part of the system. Dia understands that unlike what everyone else suspects, unlike what most people believe, unlike what even many members of the clan have a grasp on, that the true power of the Clan of the Rose is in its information and in its social espionage. Those parties and salons that they throw, those scenes and openings, those tastings and various other feet and so artistic and so outsider vision, all the haute couture, that attracting of attention is used to distract, control, and manipulate the very real power of a city. There is not one city, one village, one town with a significant Toreador presence where they are not, in fact, the true power behind the throne. And having that understanding, Dia is able to throw their shoulders back and remain unfazed by the glowers and the stares and the clear-cut assassination of their potential standing due to the first 2 interview questions asked. As far as most people are concerned, Dia is already a wounded duck at best, a lame duck at best. As far as everyone is concerned, if they obtain the senator's seat, it will be easy to bowl them over or bend to their will, because right now there's no reason to have it. 2 questions, 2 interviews, 2 investigations, both failures. Dia is able to shrug off and shirk off that attention. Arriving at Geneva's side, Geneva is holding a martini glass. It is filled with a thick, nearly black, viscous blood. And it's clear that it is, in fact, blood and not vitae. Though thickened clearly with coca powder, some other aperitif, and based on what hits Dia's nose, some more than small measure of material stuff. The good, rich life of another individual is in that glass. Geneva smiles, takes a sip, and in front of everyone gathered, hands the glass to Dia. I am so happy that you were able to arrive early enough. How are you doing this evening? Holding up, and they rest a hand on their shoulder.
Taking the glass like they're at just another party, swirling it softly in their fingertips, and giving Geneva a very saucy wink as they sip from the glass carefully to not get any on their suit. It's another night at salons. The social gathering of the year, it seems.
Decade.
Decade.
Power. Power is never given. It is only ever taken. And it can only be taken by someone who has the wherewithal to rise above and maintain the course. Because after all, a leader points the way. A leader stands in front of the slings and arrows for their people and is able to instill in their people the belief in their abilities, the rightness of their vision. And I'm sure that Nicole, wherever she is, has instilled that in you and is watching you now.
Indeed. And it's funny because as they say that there is a very slight burning tingle at the corner of their eye, trying to hold back a tear as Geneva says that wherever they are watching you. But instead of, you can't go bawling in front of everybody, they hold it together and smile. And yes, I believe you're very much correct in the fact that Nicole has been training me for this for a very long time. I had hoped to never need to step into their shoes, but now that I am here, they are fierce pumps.
And as Dia is speaking, showing a certain comportment about themselves, there is a murmur and a mild hiss that issues across the crowd. Frost and Robert are making their way across the floor. Frost, Rob, would you be so kind as to roll your resolve and performance for me, please?
Oh, I actually have a dot in performance. Yeah. Which brings that up to... Come on. Dang it. Whatever. Good enough.
You both step out of the room, saying you'll be back to Zach, thumbs up and a head nod, heading to where the action is. Frost, because of a strained but understandable sense of duty to protect Dia wherever they are, whenever they are. Rob, because, well, it's not very exciting in the room without Dia being there, so might as well go ahead and do what they do best, which is provide a big body as shield and threat. And the moment that they exit the hall where the room is, all eyes are on them. It is literally facing down a firing squad of glares, glances, dismissal, not even considering Robert's size as anything more than one would a child who hopped onto a battlefield with a pop gun. You clearly are in the wrong place. You clearly are not armed for what is about to happen. And that is the look, the dismissal, that there's nothing that Rob nor Frost could do to defend themselves against the horrors that they are walking into. And at first, it's nothing. Yes, okay, well, what does that old lady know? What does that guy know? Look at how he's dressed. Oh my God, he's actually dressed like that. I know those boots. Those boots cost more than my entire wardrobe. What the fuck? Oh, shit. No, literally, there are boots that it cost more than his entire wardrobe, both armaments, clothing, and vehicle.
Damn. Wait.
Yes. Yes, he is literally realizing.
One of those boots.
He literally is walking into an area where he is outpaced and outstripped by so many levels that it is exponentially multiplied exponents. And the fact that that person looks younger than him by 10 years. That person looks younger than him by 6 years. That person looks like they're barely out of high school, maybe their first year of college. And there's an oldness and weariness about them that states those monsters have existed longer than Frost's entire line. And Rob, there's a status. There is an echelon that he was privy to when a potential inductee to the Wolfpack. It is akin to Hephaestus' fall from Mount Olympus being thrown by his mother. How far he fell to be doing security work leashed by blackmail in Indianapolis. And the person who led the charge freeing him from the church, not once, but twice in this evening, he has embarrassed. His charge, the person he should have been protecting because of the debt paid, in freeing him and giving him the opportunity to at least potentially once more get on the road, he has failed. That weight sits on his chest, weighing his large, broad shoulders down. And then the looks. There's that recognition. That's that glimmer of understanding. They realize who he is. They realize who he was. And that's the part that stings. Who he was. He is of no value. He is of no import. His size, his strength, his potential bestial fury means nothing. And that's how they view him.
Much younger.
By failing by 3, we will, for half that, even though that is not the case, you are feeling the full effects of that 3 points of mental damage. Each of you lose 2 willpower.
Damn.
Robert hangs his head down a bit. The big, tough exterior is kind of being reduced to more of a dark tail between his legs that he's been scolded. He hates the plan on the road, fucking Frenchies. Doesn't know how to push your buttons.
And Dia, spotting the murmur, spotting the hisses, spotting the arrival of the cavalry, as it were, and the looks on their faces as if they had been beaten bats before they even made it more than a quarter way across the floor. What is it that stands on their mind? What is it that they are seeking to?
Dia is very much, fucking course. They can't stay where I told them to stay. So they're the back stiffens a bit, and they're looking at Genoa and turning to face the other 2. Did you think I would get lost? I appreciate you coming to find me, but I know my way around these lovely people.
Have you ever seen Have you ever seen those moments, those videos where the kid is lost and they spend what seems like forever searching up and down the aisles for their parents, for their guardians they love and care for, only to realize that that person isn't anywhere to be found and the world seems a far larger, colder place? That's what it feels like. Dia's statement of appreciation is a salve too little, too late. You are here. You've made it across the floor. Instead of meeting you halfway or 3/4 of the way, they made you walk the entirety of the floor to get to them. And it feels as if you are far more alone than you've ever been.
Frost kind of just scratches the back of his head and looks awkwardly at the.
And while you guys speak amongst yourself, Zach, while the others leave the area, while the others make their way out onto the floor, the door swings open, and the two persons, as you see there in open play, walk in, looking left and right and looking towards each other. And then View makes their way closer to you, offering their hand. There's a similar outlook, a similar neither male nor female, this nothing masculine, nothing feminine, directly right down the middle about View. Even their voice could be either one or the other, sitting perfectly balanced between the masculine and the feminine divine. Their hair flowing just long enough to be considered overly long, yet there is a strength to their jawline. Dressed as they are, they look as if they are a melding of a gender-swapped Baron Samedi, the Baron of the Loas, one of the head Loas of religion. The only thing missing is, well, all of the actual accoutrements. Their stylings are designed to bring that to mind, while Felix is dressed as if he is some landed gentry just out of the 1800s. His vest, his waistcoat, his breeches, and yes, breeches, not slacks nor jeans, and his his mid-calf high boots, polished to a near mirror shine. We were under the impression that there was another here, a Concordia White. Would you happen to know where they've hidden themselves? View says, offering their hand.
Beck takes the offer and states that she didn't so much hide as she'd so much hide at all, and basically points in the general direction that she went.
Out the door.
Basically to the area just outside where he is.
I would consider that hiding, wouldn't you? If an area has been set aside so that battle could be had, that questions could be answered, that motives can be ascertained, and you leave that area, wouldn't you consider that hiding? Shirking one's responsibility. No child of Nicole would shirk their responsibility, unless of course there was some very attractive man or woman out there. There are quite a few out there. Yes, this I know. That's the point of my double entendre. I was very witty, don't you think? No, I don't. Either way, you are?
I am Zach Volkir. An attaché of her.
Oh, the little guitarist. Yes, the guitarist. From over there in Riverdale. Oh, yes, I don't enjoy Riverdale. No, I don't. I'm sorry. You were saying? Mr. Volkir, did we lose you? Are we moving too quickly?
Well, now. As to whether or not that can be considered hiding, well, that depends on the motive.
To escape. To abscond. To flee.
No,
To obfuscate.
I didn't really get the sense that that was her motive.
I see. So the reason is just as important as the action, your understanding. Is that what you're saying?
Well, that is only my opinion, which can be taken for what it's worth.
So what is it worth? Does it have value?
Wouldn't that, in and of itself, be a matter of opinion?
No, because as plainly stated, directly requested, query is solely based on what you say. Whether we believe that or not, it depends on what you offer, and you are offering nothing. So therefore, no, it doesn't have any value. So Volkir wasted our time? I believe so. Should we spread the word? Of course we should. After all, that is our purpose in the world. To spread the light and understanding of the world as it could be and is. Shame. It is. I heard they were actually... Yeah, we're probably going to have to get the inspectors to shut the place down. Why bother? Why not bother? One more chance? Do they deserve it? I don't know. So speaking as Concordia White isn't here, Mr. Volkir, being one of us, being a member of the dead, being a member of the kindred, if your words had value, if you intrinsically were of some value to us, and what you stated carried weight, what, if any, is the most valuable addition?
Okay, I have to ask. Is it back to the reason versus action thing, or are they talking, like, in general?
No, they asked you a direct, general question.
And it's at this moment where Zach feels like he's doomed no matter what he says. As he's trying to choose his words very carefully, but doesn't think that's actually possible right now. He actually thinks about what it is he values the most in general. And feeling as though he really has no place here. He does not belong. And it's clear in his face that he's trying to choose his words very carefully. And he simply states that the things he values may be of very little to no value to others. And it's at this point Zack realizes that he may as well just leave and never come back, but he keeps that realization to himself. Because he knows he's trapped no matter what he says.
Dear. Yes, indeed. Well, Volkir, enjoy the rest of your evening, what there remains of it. Good luck. And they turn around and leave. And as they leave and closing the doors behind them, we will take a quick pause of 10 minutes, and I'll see you all back here at 44. Everyone gathered?
I'm here.
I'm here.
All right. All right.
So we're in Dalton right now?
Yes. So we're just waiting on Dia and Rob to return.
Zack's beating himself up.
Okay, so we're just waiting on Dia. Quick aside before we dive immediately back into bed. Frost, Rob, and Zack and Dia are inhabiting. A little removal of the curtain, blowing out the smoke so things are a little clearer. In the course of this evening, a long-living representative of the kindred in Dalton was killed due to affect and affection, as well as training. Their child, Dia, was granted the opportunity to ascend to their seat of power. Part and parcel of being a senator, just like part and parcel of being a primogen, is having the right people in your corner. Having people that will support you, having people that will act on your word, and being able to lead them, because through them, your associates, through the people that you gather into your circle, to your trust, your board of aides, is how others who are adverse to your leanings affect you. You all, by extension and by knowledge, by being close at hand and being part and parcel of the coterie, are also respected of a similar, though slightly less, role. The questions thus far, just to give you guys an idea and understanding of what was being presented. The first person to enter the room was Decibel Albo. He, in fact, is the person whose home you're in, and is also one of the advisors, if you guys look there on the whiteboard, to the Dom of Dalton, the head of all things for Dalton. One of Dalton's mottos is a village working together, all hands in, all hands, everybody for the greater good. Decibel's question was about maintaining honor above all else. And yes, it's wrong to seek personal glory, but it is never wrong to do the right thing no matter what. And the right thing when being slighted and being assaulted is to defend oneself. The second question was the sheriff, Wayne Mitchell. He literally is Dalton's effective sheriff. He's the person that would pursue, investigate chase down, find the truth, and act on it based on the Dom's say so. His question and his line of attack, because that's literally how he presented it, was, would you all be willing to work with the system for the greater good? That answer, unfortunately, was a resounding no. And above all else, both of those questions were about how the coterie would support themselves, how they would support each other, i.e. Dia in her position of ascending to Senate seat. And that resounding answer thus far has been not at all. The priest, View, and Felix, their question was, would you be willing to and able to present, would you be willing to and present an idea and lead from that position? Just a simple, straightforward, what is it that you think? The first time, it didn't go over, it wasn't carried out, it was an answer given. It's all about perception. No, unfortunately, right and wrong, the battle for the soul is not about perception. There are lines that should not be crossed. There are places that should not be gone into. There are things that should not be done, just like there are things that should be done. It is not perceptional. And so having a stance that you're willing to speak from and invest it with value based on you say that this is value, this is my stance. That was the goal behind that. This literally is an interview for the senator's position. It's literally an interview of the coterie as a whole, because the city of Dalton, the village of Dalton, they have to make certain decisions based on the good of the majority, and they act from that position. So having someone in a position of leadership and their associates having an understanding of that value, being able to follow that value, to uphold that value, is important to them. So even with the Dom's support, even with them saying that despite Dia's rather insular upbringing because of Nicole, they are ready and worthy of that position. There's these tests, these questions, interviews that are being conducted to verify that, to prove that.
And Zach just completely sabotaged that unintentionally.
Dia, you back?
Yep.
All right. So, with that knowledge, we dive back in. When we last left our coterie, we last left our troop, they had suffered the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune. They had been gifted with not the silver spoon of the position. It was not something that was just handed to them. It was something that had to be earned by voice and action and by deed. And feeling the weight of their decisions thus far, feeling the burden of those responsibilities, we pick up with Dia speaking with Frost and Robert and Jennifer.
Realizing now what that moon is, I suppose I should go back and play hostess.
Of course, we all do what we feel we must. I'm sure that things will work as they are intended to. After all, I don't believe, and I could be wrong, I doubt that I am, that everything will work as it's supposed to. Stay strong. And just like a switch of a light, they're back to their bright and shiny self and talking to the public, the nearest kindred at hand. And I understand that Giacomo has gone missing. Do you believe that there's some foul play after all? If there's any other person besides Concordia that may be worthy of that position, there is only one. And that's Giacomo, who has, and with that, entering into the gathering before Dia, Rob, and Froth make their way back to the room where they had been escorted, is the third most beautiful person that Robert had seen when operating as a potential inductee, Wolfpack. Floating in and through the city, he had the opportunity of meeting several different notable kindred, several different notable individuals who, without beating an aphorism overly much, they were right just for being right. And when she enters dressed in a nearly blood red dress with a light cashmere long coat on, her clutch in her left hand, her smiling and greeting others around, she sees him, and in that it is clear that she recognizes the large, balding, ginger man. And she begins making her way across. And if you look there in the general, that is her image. Oh my God. It's been forever. Robert?
I think you have the wrong person.
I don't think I do. It's me, Naomi. And then she looks to Dia. Oh, I'm so sorry. And she throws her arms around Dia, hugging. I recently heard just this evening, I was taking care of other business. I am so sorry. I really, she will be a tough act to find.
Thank you, Naomi. That means quite a lot coming from you. Tough act to follow. Good thing I am tough.
Yes, you are. If Jack wasn't in the running, you would have my support instantaneously. But Felix and View have put a lot of effort into literally making Jack act as a senator in their stead. If anyone else was in the running for Nicole's seat, you'd have my vote above all else. But part and parcel of the job is management, tending to the business things. And it would greatly infringe on your personal time.
I do understand that I seem to have a bit of a reputation, it seems. Party girl. Always having a good time.
No, and that's not what I mean at all. I really listened to much of the scuttlebutt. After all, if I did, I would not be here myself. I would not have chosen to take a position with the Senate instead of just operating in Chicago. I really do believe that you have what it takes. It's merely that Jack has more of what it takes to be a senator. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of meetings. There's a lot of management that, perfectly honest, if I didn't have to, I wouldn't. I'd shirk my responsibilities. I'd focus only on my business affairs instead of the village's business affairs. And I think, especially with the tragedy of how Nicole passed, that maybe a few years with Jack in the senator's position would be beneficial to you. And I would love to help you with a little tutelage and sharing all of what I have to offer. One woman, one person who is the underdog, who is a natural outsider, someone who thinks for themselves. I would love to help you.
And this is why I believe you are the most incredibly kind. And I would appreciate any help that you might find your way to giving, but I also feel that I paid very close attention to how Nicole ran things, and I can stand on my own 2 feet. Even if others do not think so. If you'll excuse me, I have to get back to my interviews.
Of course. If you should need anything, really, either of you, and she looks directly at Rob, I would love to be of assistance. Just keep me in mind. You know where my facilities are. Feel free to stop by, drop a line. And she steps closer to you, Dee, lowering her voice. And watch out for Blakeney. Something's changed. She is not as maverick as she was. I think something is in the motions. But it's always a pleasure to see you. And looking at Rob, you too. I don't know what's going on, but if you should need help with it, feel free to look me up. And then she waves, and lo and behold, the person she's waving at is a tall, thin, platinum blonde woman in tow with 2 others who are varying degrees dark. Their hair, their makeup, their clothing. It is as if they are night given flesh.
Dia knows, because I'm pretty sure they know that's Laura Blakeney, if they remember correctly. And looking at Frost and Robert, come children, let us return to our gilded cage.
Robert lets
Takes
that out.
one last look at those damn boots and
Robert lets out a breathless sigh. God damn, this has been stressful. I know where I am, and if they wanted to fuck me over and go ahead on a pike, they would have already.
When you all make it back to the room where you first were stationed, Zach looks as if someone has dived down their throat and pulled their stomach inside out. There is a defeated presence about them, and it is unmistakable. It is the sort of look that happens when one has been assailed so thoroughly as to not leave any idea that there is light just outside the window. Up is down, down is up, left is right, and right is good. Gives a flying foot.
You look like somebody hit you with a truck. You good?
He's repeatedly shaking his head and cursing himself and basically verbally abusing himself. And one gets the sense that he just screwed up big time.
And now, cursing yourself out ain't gonna help anybody. What happened?
And Zach tells them exactly what happened. And
Okay, Zach.
apologizes.
Tell them what happened. Okay, Zach, tell them what happened.
Explains how Felix and View came in to interview DNX, only to find Zach by himself. And so they decided to ask Zach a couple questions. And Zach knew that nothing he said would really matter because in the end, and it would end poorly for all of them. And so Zach said what he said, and now he realizes that now he's realizing just how screwed they all are right now. And is now pressing his arms against the wall, pressing his head against his arm, and just shaking his head in complete and total defeat.
Frost gives Zach a big bear hug and says it's gonna be fine. I'm here.
Don't worry, Zach. We're all losers here.
Bro, outcast me.
If you aren't part of the endless circle jerk and posturing, you're at the very bottom. That's how it works there.
You do realize that if I do not get this position this evening, that they will take the Pesketeers Lounge from me, and I will essentially be person non grata in Dalton, and neither will you.
What, like
That is not
excommunicado?
pretty much, if not outright killed, if I'm guessing at Decibel and Dwayne. They like to kill things. Very much so. Anything they
I
consider
was
a
kind of
threat.
made late.
Zach, I do not. What's done is done, but realize, all of you realize, that it's not just me on the chopping block here. It is not just me they are questioning and going over with the microscope. It is you all, because you are all supposed to be my support system. The ones that I chose to have my back. Did I choose wrong? I have no fucking clue. But you're what I have, and I have to deal with that. So, from now on, I have no clue how many further senators I have to be questioned by, but I am almost assuredly 3.
You don't have to deal with any senators. You do not have to deal with senators, sister. You have to deal with the bank, says the young lady, and that the picture's up in general. Standing before you dressed in a waist-length leather jacket, dark blue, almost pearlized, with a black tank top beneath and low-rise black jeans with a belt buckle that looks as big as their fists, with matching dark red boots that reach mid-calf, lace and tight enough that you're sure that they aren't just for show. The fact that they are steel toe only adding to that immediacy, that there's a good chance that they do more than just kick shit. I see that I have you all speechless. This is good. Maybe we can get to the brass tacks. You guys okay with this? Getting to the brass tacks?
Yes.
So what? So
Let's see. You are the comic relief, yes? I'll take that as a yes. Perhaps English is not your first. Je parle-vous français? sprechen Sie Deutsch? Nicht Waputongwa?
Yeah, no. English is my first language.
That is a shame.
It's just a little late. I need coffee. I look around and see if there's any fucking coffee.
So, which of you are Concordia? Hopefully not you. You don't look like a Concordia. Maybe a Bill or Bob.
No, Frost. Sorry, I'm supposed to be protection.
Against fleas?
Against. Yeah, sure. Why not?
I see. Not very funny for a comic relief. Perhaps there's better work for you elsewhere. And she looks toward you, Rob. Frost, the fact of the matter is, and here's the thing that you are not letting on. You have seen this person several instances over the last few years conducting business with Seth. When Seth obtains his kick, his little bags of happiness, on a few instances, this person has been there.
So this person doesn't recognize me. Huh. Rude.
Maybe it's the full face mask.
Full face. He doesn't wear a helmet. He probably should have a helmet. He probably does have one somewhere.
To you, I understand this potential protection. You are a very big target, and I'm sure that you can stand in front of either of the gentlemen or ladies. So you are Concordia, correct? Reports at you, Dia.
Correct, yes.
Excellent. This is good. I like this. We are communicating directly. There is a lot of pomp and circumstance. I don't have time for it. In fact, I'd rather not be here, but as part of my responsibility, the service of the Blood Czar and the operating bank for Dalton these days, I need to vet your interests and make sure that they either align with ours enough that business, or are disparate enough where I need to visit you one night alone away from your friends and see which of us can outlast the other. I don't have time for unlike the others, to beat around the bush with parables and questions and judge you based on your ability to understand that which is not said. I'm coming to you directly. The Dom likes you. Naomi likes you. Too bad Jack will more than likely receive senator's seat. But as the also ran, it is important that we have an understanding as to where you stand, just in case. We haven't had the opportunity to speak. This is Jack. This is Giacomo. What sort of name is this for a woman? All the same. So, plainly, your retinue, people that you will to support yourself and bolster your mission, your vision, and take a bullet for you, push comes to shove, I need you all to answer. I need your understanding that what I'm saying is clear to you. Am I speaking the correct English?
Close enough.
Indeed.
I'm sorry, I still have your mother on my tongue. It makes it a little bit numb.
Oh boy. This is not going well.
So everyone can understand us, correct? I can understand me, I can understand you all. Sometimes I wish I could not, but we understand each other. This is the language that we all are speaking. Does anyone need a translator?
9.
Ich spreche Sie Deutsch.
None.
I wish I knew more German.
No,
Yeah,
Zach
she's
says in
Ross and
perfect
very-
French.
Very clear, shut the fuck up look.
Okay.
Got it.
So, unlike the others, I don't believe in parables. Unlike Sephoa, I am not going to measure you based on your aura. Unlike the Dom, I am not going to go based off of my feelings of your potential. I will take your word at face value. What you say goes. That will be my understanding of your understanding. As he also ran, there's not so much pressure on you, but just again, business must be attended, lest business tend you. So we run a business, an illegal business. It is the foundational bank of Dalton. Will you protect our interests? As by not protecting our interests, you will be putting Dalton at risk.
Yeah, shifts slightly, widening your stance, looking at Tao directly. I like the way things work now. I understand that the bank has very much to do with the comforts that we enjoy here in Dalton. So, I would wish that they continue. And I will do what I can to see that it continues. As it is, unmolested.
You have a very pretty mouth and a great jawline. If I'm not mistaken, you are attempting to say yes without saying yes. I do need to say yes or no.
Softly. Yes. Your interests are my interests.
Excellent. I like this. You, funny man, protector.
What's up?
The same question I just asked. I'm not going to repeat my.
Yeah, I got your best interest in heart.
You, big one. You have been smart enough to
My
remain
interest.
silent.
My interests are the rest of the pack's interests.
Everyone likes to say yes, but without saying yes. Everyone likes to say no without saying no. You will not hurt my feelings. And direct is always best. Beating around the bush leaves it up to perception, and perception is always wrong without all of the information. The information is this. We are the Bank of Dalton. Our interest supports the city. Will you defend our interests or damn the city? Yes or no?
Yes, I will.
You, crying man. Yes or no?
Zach just simply says yes.
This I'm very happy to hear. I don't have to come looking for either of you in some dark alley. I don't have to shoot you from a mile away. This is all very good. You do understand that Sephoa, for all of her kindness, for all of her grace, she leaves the dirty work to us. And much like us, you should support your leader, your person who's your face. Senator. Though not senator because, Jack is going to the seat. But if Jack is to fall, and when we have the opportunity to speak with Jack and their retinue when they stand against us, then of course we'll support you. Now, where is this Jack? They should be here. I'll go find them to congratulate them and let them know that if they screw up, that you will take their place and it will be better for us. Before I leave, because I believe in direct, simple, straightforward communication, you'll have any questions or any qualms at this point.
I don't want to ask questions and not to.
It seems everybody's having a hard time locating this Jack this evening. I don't know whether that means ill or good for me, but I'm concerned. Other than that, no, I have no questions. Thank you.
So you're saying that. So you're saying that even Jack will have the position that you have been promised. You still care whether they exist and whether they are healthy.
Yes, why wouldn't I be concerned if somebody that's been mentioned several times this evening has not made an appearance or shown this evening? I have a strange feeling they think I have somehow harmed this person, which is entirely crazy.
It'd be the smart thing. If I were you, I would have shot him. I would have crashed his car. I would have beaten them within an inch of their life and made them flee town. There's nothing that I would personally not do to achieve my goals.
That's not very civilized.
Who says that I'm civilized? Who says that civilization has anything? Who says I give two shits what anyone else thinks? My goals are my goals. Luckily, my goals align with the Blood Czars, and we have a very good working relationship. I'd say they were my friend, but there was... Never mind. Gary's another matter entirely. I can do where I want. Here, not so much. Nodding, she looks at each of you and then back to Dia. I will find you. Perhaps your lounge can continue receiving that without too much of a tax. We'll talk business later. I wish you luck. And Tal, the four of you are alone in the room, and down. A few moments later, Dwayne arrives back in the looking as if there's something foul in the or that he drunken something less than fresh. There's a very real menace, and even without the gifts of reading another's mind, even without telepathy or psychokinesis or any of those sorts of abilities, the thoughts there are as clear as day. Why the flying... I need you all to come with me. And with that, he unbuttons the single button on his blazer and rolls his shoulder. Right this way.
This ought to be fun.
Again, putting on their public mask, their squared shoulders, their unbothered attitude, and gliding out behind Dwayne, wondering just what the heck is going on.
Zack dons
You all
his mask,
realize-
with a more easygoing look, and follows Dia.
Frost has no. Well, I guess he did have a mask.
And it's
Yeah, Frost
at
just
this
tries to look
point
angry.
that the coterie gets the idea that relaxed Zack is the mask, and Zack the constantly stressed out, self-abusive Zack is the real thing.
Sure, you're not Malkavian?
I'm kind of questioning that myself right now. But if you knew Zack's story, which I'm currently constructing, it would make a little more sense.
So, as everyone files out, Dwayne leads you all through the crowd. And as you all make your way through faces, you see Naomi. Her eyes are moist. You see Blakeney, and there's a dark strength there that is unmistakably a center of power. You see View and Felix standing close together, their faces as close to blank as possible, but there's a smoldering sense of enmity just beneath the surface. There's a decidedly anti-look to most of the people you all pass. It is as if these people have gathered to watch a hanging. These people have gathered to watch a public execution. These are the folks who quietly wait for the Axeman or the Hangman to step onto the podium, and they begin cheering. This is the crowd that will be the last thing burned into your retina as the rope swings or the axe fall. As you all are led to the front of the grouping, Geneva is standing there and her jaws clenched tightly. She looks at you all and stops at Dia. That former warmth that was shared between them long enough ago where most would have been over it flashes, and then the steely calm of one prepared to pronounce judgment and destruction. Without any shadow of a doubt, without beating that aphorism even more dead than Mr. Ed, this is a firing squad. You guys are literally being prepared to be slaughtered and laid consumption. Jenna would take away from you all, looking out onto the crowd of gathered kindred and their associates and their assistants. We have suffered too many losses in the last few days, last few weeks. One of those losses that we have suffered will never be replaced. There's no one who can equal Nicole and all the work that she did to protect our village. There's no one who can equal charm, her grace. No one who has had the opportunity to know Nicole's heart could ever doubt that. However, Felix and View, our spiritual advisors for the village as a whole, those who operate the bulk of our houses of worship, has put forth their adoptive childer, the executor of their Giacomo Undine. Unfortunately, seeing our young blue blood who has been being trained for the last 2 decades to be a senator, we found evidence that Giacomo has been transpiring and working in the shadows against us as a whole. We have learned that Naomi has utilized Giacomo to further their own personal business interests to the detriment of the village, and as such, even though Naomi and her associates took matters into their own hands and assassinated Giacomo. It is a loss. However, we have our best hope. We have our best hope. We have our best candidate. We have the one, the only, the incomparable childer of Nicole. Cordia White willingly will step forward and shoulder the burden of representing us, our needs, and our wants. This troop of kindred at her disposal will act as her agents until she is fully able to conduct the orders of the office alone, as Nicole has for years. I give you each and every one, Cordia White, Piscateur's code. And begrudgingly, it starts with, and that one is actually Naomi. Even as Dwayne is falling into her shadow, standing just over her shoulder, is clapping in appreciation what was just witnessed. And as she claps, the others join in, and it becomes a raucous chorus of dead flesh smacking dead flesh in approval of the one choice available to.
So, are we the ones under trial? I whispered to the party.
And Geneva turns to Dia, placing her back to the crowd, stepping just inside Dia's personal bubble, just inside the space before lowering her voice. Both Dia and those closest to her will be able to hear, but it is clear that Geneva does not care. And meeting Dia's eyes, she said, as I told you, everything out as it was supposed to. And she smiles and turns back to the crowd as the claps continue and the applause is given, and the understanding that Dia knew Senators Dalton and representative of the Clan of the Rose in this independent, self-standing village, this empire of free-thinking individuals bond together to their detriment if it is for the greater good. Good night, everybody. Thank you for being patient and playing through this extra time. And I look forward to our next session. Everybody have a good night.
Yeah, it's hard not being a smart ass.
Good night.
Night.
Wait, so they didn't screw Dia after all?
Wait, yeah.
Oh,
He kind of made it like, what do you call it? Not obvious at first. He was like a little bit scared to see what's gonna happen. I like that.
It's all because of Frost. I'll just say that.
if you would like